Health Education Lecture Series. All the listeners of Health Education Lecture Series, I'm your host, Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, homeopathic consultant, and my clinic address is 9701 Sarah N. Court, Dublin, California, 94568. Phone number 408 687 1899, and my email address is homeomedicine, HOMEOMEDICINE @yahoo.com. Anytime when you are tired of any treatments for any disease at any age and you want to get second opinion of your disease, or you want to be treated by homeopathic system of treatments, you can call me at 408 687 1899. Let's come to the today's lecture, Health Education Lecture Series. As you know, in these lectures, I'm describing one by one how the life was created, developed, and what were the problems throughout this course with the life, which we are considering the diseases, complications. And step by step, I'm describing all those complications with you and the due course, complete course of that life, how it was started, developed in the mother's womb, and after that. So, step by step, everything I'm guiding you in three languages. One day it is in English, the other day it is in Punjabi, the other day it's in Hindi, so that every person who is joining all these lectures can understand about this body and can understand how this body is developed, how this body becomes sick, and what are the reasons behind that. And if ever you are aware of all these lectures, you listen all these lectures, you will be able to understand and you will be able to remove those causes and get rid of the diseases. So that's why uh, I see many of the new members are joining with us with these lectures, and I'm happy for that one. Again, uh, my hunger is still increased. I need more numbers. More people should join to these lectures and should understand all these things, because always it was thought that the medical science is related only to the medical doctors. But I am conveying this message to the whole community, to each and every house and each and every member of the house, whosoever is listening, so that everybody individually should know about that, about this body, and each member should be enlightened, should have knowledge about how he falls sick, and so that before falling sick he can avoid all those causes which may make him sick. And also, if ever, because this is a machinery, is a routine, it may have any problems in the normal running course of this body. But if ever it happens somewhere, then you should be having knowledge about those causes which may derange your health and you are going to be sick. And then ultimately you will be having a knowledge that how we can eradicate those causes, how first of all how we can learn about those causes, and then how we can eradicate those causes so that get well soon. So this is our normally object of all these lectures. Until now, when we have started the structuring of this body, and we have described about the structure of vertebral column, structure of the chest wall or the chest cage, you can say, structure of the pelvic girdles, all these three compartments, and in between these two compartments there was a third compartment, that's the abdomen. From upward to downward, after separating the head from this whole trunk, and there was a main trunk, and the trunk was divided into three portions. Upper portion was known as the chest, which was having enclosed in it very important structures of the body for the functioning of of the body and creating a normal life. just like heart and lungs. And after that, we have divided this trunk into two portions. The upper portion was known as the chest, and the lower portion was known as the abdomen. So, when we are describing the abdomen, I told you about that one. This the abdomen is also divided into two portions. The upper portion is known as the exact abdomen, abdomen proper, you can say that. That's the bigger portion from the trunk. If as a whole we have to consider the trunk, it means this is the biggest portion of the trunk, abdomen, because it has many more organs working for the digestions, working for the excretion and secretion as well. Because whatever we eat, it goes to the intestines, and the rus and the extracts are squeezed from it when it goes to the blood circulations, and the waste goes to the stool portion. But it's not only that one, it has another structure that is for the secretions. How we secrete, because secretions and excretions, these are two different terms. Excretion just like stool, excretion just like urination. So for the excretion, there is a stool. The most waste part from the food goes to the stool portion, and after that, when the stool then when the blood is circulating throughout the body, and ultimately some of the excretion are dissolved in water, and ultimately that water reaches to the kidney, and that kidney filters them and excretes them. That's also a excretion uh, via the whole circulations. When the circulating blood, first of all, food is digested, food is assimilated, assimilated food goes to mix up with the already made blood, and then it made, or you can say increase the quantity of the blood, and whatever the cells needs, they can absorb from this food materials, and the blood circulation continue to serve all the tissues with that food, and also with the oxygen as well. And then this circulating blood goes to each and every organs, and it collects the garbage from all the organs, and also supply them the food and oxygen, and it continue to circulating throughout the body since the day one, when the heart was composed. That's the fifth week of intrauterine life, when the heart was starting working in its full capacity. Since then, up to the last breath of our body, this heart continues to breathe. If ever this heart cannot breathe, cannot beat only for 5 minutes, it's very difficult to revive this one. So, in this way, this heart was circulating, and the blood is distributed to each and every cell of the body. There are trillions of cells this body is made up of, and all the cells are supplied food materials and oxygen. But ultimately, all this blood circulation collects the excretion from all these cells, their waste products from all the cells, and then it goes back into the circulations. But one more thing, from some of the organs, it is collecting the waste materials. That is waste as a whole, the total waste which should go out of the body. Whatever needs to go out of the body, that is known as excretion. Just I mentioned about the stool and urine. So when this circulating blood, which is collecting garbage from all the tissues throughout the body, reaches to the kidney in liquefied portions, and that liquid portion is separating. There's a separate type of you can say mechanism in the kidneys, which filters the blood from the urea and all other waste products into the waters, and that water goes like a urine into the bladder, and it is evacuated out of the body. But still, this blood circulation is doing one more exceptional thing, which is the secretions. Secretions are also the waste product of some of the organs, of some of the glands, or some of the part of the system, but they are not considered as waste product. Secretions and excretions, these are two things. excretions are always waste product collected from all the systems inside the body, and they are directly evacuated from the body in whatever way. That is just like stool, urine, sweat, perspirations, and also the breathing. So there are different ways of excreting the waste products by different organs. But still, this blood, circulating blood inside the body, is also collecting some of the stuff from some of the organs, and that is not waste product. That is not considered basically, this is a waste product for those organs. This is waste product for those organs, just like I can say the pancreas. Pancreas is producing insulin. So insulin is not a waste product, should be evacuated from the body by any means. No, it is not. It is a type of secretion which is used by other organs, adrenal glands. There are many more hormones released by the adrenal glands, pituitary glands, ovary glands, testosterone, which produces testosterone. All these things are producing garbage, but that garbage is not considered as excretion. This is considered as secretions. So, secretion means when any product, any garbage is released from a particular type of organs inside the body, and that garbage is used by other organs for their functioning, for their purpose, then that is known as secretions. Insulin is used to metabolize the sugar. Bile is used to digest the fat particles and many other things in the digestions. Pituitary gland is used to constriction and relaxation of various organs, just like the uterus, it acts on the uterus and also the lungs and also on the heart as well. Same way, there are many more. This system is known as endocrine system, and all the glands of the endocrine systems are scattered throughout the body. Whatever garbage they produce is not considered as excretion. This is secretions. Means their product, their waste, just like a honeybee. Honeybee, the waste product of the honeybee is honey, and we use it. That's not waste product. In this way, the secretion of some of the organs inside the body is used by other organs inside the body for their normal functioning. So, for contraction and relaxation of the heart, for contraction and relaxation of the lungs, for contraction and relaxation of the uterus, we need pituitary. So, this pituitary hormone is produced by the pituitary glands, hypothalamus, pituitary glands, thyroid gland. So, thyroid gland maintains the metabolism. So, in this way, there are some of the organs which are producing secretions, not the excretions, though it is their waste products. So, in this way, everything is circulating throughout the blood, and wherever this blood goes, whatever is necessary for those organs, they take it from the blood and they add their garbage to that one. Just like any vendor goes to your streets selling different vegetables. You are not buying all the vegetables, you are buying only some of them, whatever is your need. And then he goes to the next door to sell the other things. So, in this way, this blood is going throughout the body, circulating, reaching to each and every cell of the body, and fulfilling their demands. Their demand is to one, to take up something. They need it, oxygen and food material. Their demand is to evacuate. If garbage will not be removed from our homes, you can well imagine what will happen. Septic offensive smells, all that one, and we will not be able to work those conditions. So blood is circulating, a major important organ. So I was discussing about this thing that this is taking part in secretions as well as in the excretions of some of the products. So in this way, all the organs are performing their duties so that a normal life should be excreted. So after that, I started about that compartment I was telling. When we were reaching to the trunk, first of all the chest, and after that the remaining portion of the trunk has abdomen proper, and abdomen proper plus the pelvic area. So this is what I described in my previous lecture perhaps, and I'm just revising so that I do not go run away. Just I'm giving my lecture. No, it's not my duty that I'm giving the lecture. It is my demand. It's my desire. It's my craving that whatever I say should reach to you. Should reach to you, to your mind. You should understand that. That's why many of the things I repeat before going to the next lectures. In this way, I repeated that the trunk is divided into two portions. First of all, the chest and the abdomen proper, and then the abdomen proper is divided into two other portions: the abdomen proper plus the pelvic areas. And pelvic areas also having major important organs of the body of our life, basically, you can say, because the main purpose of the life is to create life from life. All other professions, whatever we are doing, they are just helping professions. They are just allied professions. They are not the main purpose of our being. We are existing, we are in this world because we have to create life from life. All other things are associated. We have to do work just to fulfill the demand of this body, requirements of this body. That's why we work there. But this is not our main purpose. The main purpose for which we are, I'm a doctor, someone attorney, somebody is doing agriculture, somebody is doing, all these things are associated functions, associated duties, just to support the creation of life. So, in this way, the important organs of creation of lives are lodged inside the cage of pelvic brim. And the pelvic brim, I told you about that one. What are the bones which are forming this pelvic brim? In the backside, there is a sacrum and coccyx, and in between these sacrum and coccyx, there goes a main pillar that is known as the vertebral column. And then from the backside, this cage is completed, and in the lower portion, when it is anchored on the any seat, that is ischium, ilium, ischium, and the pubic. These are the three bones which are constructing on right side the hip portions, and on the left side of the hip portion, and when they join in the back side via the sacral body. In the front side, there is a pubic bone. Okay, so I have given you the description of this pubic bone. It's symphysis pubic. A special type of a joint has been constructed in front of the pelvic area so that at times it can dilate when we need it. Otherwise, ultimately, with the age development of age, it is it becomes hard bone like, and then there is no elasticity in that one. That is why the important thing for this joint the nature has made is because during delivery periods, when life is coming out of mother's womb, at that time, sometimes it may need more dilatation because the head may be enlarged of the baby, or there may be disproportion of the pelvic area because the normal pelvic area is 10 centimeter we need so that head can pass normally. But sometimes due to some polio in the childhood and some other problems in case of females, or there may be some any fractures in the younghood. In case of that one, this disproportion of the pelvic from where the head of the fetus has to pass may be disproportionate to the head of the fetus, because head of the fetus is assumed it's 10 centimeter, but that's known as the four finger dilatation. But if it is not that one, it's smaller than one, no problem, it's okay. But sometime by some of the conditions, just like hydrocephalus, just like other underdevelopment conditions, when the head is large, under those conditions, it's very difficult for the head to pass from 10 centimeter diameter of the mother's womb. That's the pelvic brim. And in that way, the nature constructed this joint, the symphysis pubis. This symphysis pubis is just where you put your belt and buckle. Your buckle comes over there, and underneath your buckle of the belt, there is a hard bone, that is symphysis pubis. Right side symphysis, the left side symphysis, and in between that there is a flexible disc nature has provided, which ultimately is converted into hard bone because it is the need of the time, demand of that area, and that is why ultimately it becomes hard bone. There are many more areas I have described: xiphoid sternum, our fontanelles, in front fontanelles and back fontanelles. There are many more gaps in between the skull bones. They ultimately are contracted into constructed into a hard bone. The same way, the symphysis pubis bone is also contracted into a hard bone. That the limit is up to 30 years, maybe little early, maybe little later. That is why the doctor advises to all the girls or the young women who are going to be mother in their future or in their present area. They advise them that you should get pregnant or you should deliver at least before 30 years of age. If not, it's 25 years of age. So mostly if a lady has a first child at the age of 25 or early than that, that will be a normal period. And most of the deliveries will occur in a normal phase. Whereas when the deliveries are taking place after the 30 years age of the mother, who is going to be mother at this time, primipara, that's known as primipara, the first time going to be mother. So if at that time age of the lady is more than 30 years, it is possible that the elasticity of the symphysis pubis is not that much which is required under certain conditions. If the head is small, it's okay. If there's the disproportion, there's a difficult. If there is a head is enlarged by some reasons, it's difficult. So, in this way, it is advised by the doctor to all the ladies who are going to be pregnant in future, who are going to be a child in future, that you should get pregnant or you should deliver a child at least first delivery before the age of 30 years of age. And after that, sometimes even if there will be delay, no problem, because when you bubbles, you put air into the bubbles, and then after that you take off the air from the bubbles, their size remains enlarged. That's not according to similar to the bubbles which do not have air any times. So that's the difference. So in this way, if your first delivery is before the age of 30 years, it's okay for that one. But even after that, you can be a child even after the age of 30, 32, 35, no problem. But it is better to be early possible before the 30 years of age. So let's advance today. So this was our previous lectures. I have discussed about that one. And after that, I gave you the description of the joints, especially the structure. After forming this structure with the vertebral column, the main pillar, after that, the pelvic girdle, I have told you about that one. The pelvic girdle was formed by the two bones coming from the back, that's known as the scapula, two bones coming from the front, that's known as clavicles, and there are some muscles coming from the chest wall. And those muscles are making a cavity by their ligaments, and that is known as glenoid cavity, in which cavity our shoulder bone, you can say the upper arm bone, that's known as humerus, it has head which fixed into that glenoid cavity and makes a joints. So there are different kinds of joints I have described. There are ball and socket joint, just like the shoulder, just like the hip joint. There are hinge joints, just like our knee. Hinge means just as you see in your doors, there are hinges, and in Punjabi it says kabza or hinges. They can just turn onto one side, not to the other sides. In this way, this is just like our knee, just like our elbow. This is known as hinge joints, so that they can move only on one side, not to the other side. Means they cannot circle of 360 degrees, just like your knee. This is known as policies. This is known as policies of the hand. It can circulate to 36 degree of the circumference. Otherwise, some of the joints, they have limited movements, and according to their limited movement, their name is given differently. Just like teeth in the gums, one-sided fixation. Just like skull bones, fixed forever. So I describe of all the bones and all their structure and joints, how they are formed, joints, and if some joints are flexible, why they are flexible. If some joints are flexible to one side, not to the other side, there is a specific reason behind that one. Some of the joints can take the whole circle, just like your neck. It's a circulating, pulses circulating. In this way, most of the joints have limited time of movements. So in that way, I describe all the joints of the body, and their different types and their different function as well. So after that, we reach to the conclusions of joints, and then after that, the characteristic of bones. Now we are playing with the bones. Joints are made by the bones. Bones are the structure which give the form to our body, and all this is depending on the bones. So, what's the characteristics? If you find out what's the characteristics of these bones, so this characteristic of the bone is, first of all, what's the primary function? What is the primary function of these bones? The primary function is, first of all, structuring. The bones structure our body. There will be head, there will be shoulder, there will be vertebral column. Every bone is helping to form individual structure of the person, smaller or bigger, larger, whatever. In this way, the first primary function of the bone is to form the skeleton structure. And after that, the second function of the bone is metabolics. Many a times in these lectures, I have revised you that there is a bone marrow. In between the bones, there is a bone marrow, which is a type of factory where blood cells are formed. And many types of blood cells are formed inside the bones, especially the long bones. But because some of the bones do not have the cavities, they are solid bones, just like the clavicles. It's a clavicle is a solid bone. It's not having any cavity inside that one. The teeth, they are having the cavities, but that cavity is only used for blood circulation, not any purpose. Whereas the long bones, bones of the arm, forearms, leg, thigh, all these are the long bones, and these are the bones which performs a metabolic activity to maintain the cells of the body, RBCs, WBCs, all these cells, platelets, all these are mostly formed in this factory. And second, if the factory is weak, the product will not be standardized. It will be weak product. But if the factory is strong, strong means administratively or composition wise and everything is complete, then whatever it will produce will be a stronger and good quality. The same way, The bones are made from calcium, potassiums, sodiums. All these minerals are collected together and they form the cavity, they form the bones. And the composition or the percentage of potassium, phosphorus, calcium, all these things makes the nature of this bone, whether it is a soft bone, whether it's a strong bone. And for the factory where the cells are prepared, we need strong bones. If the bones are weak, how you can find out the bones are weak? Nowadays, we are having the standardization of these bones, that density. We measure the density of the bones, how bones are stronger. But in general, when you feel tired, we are working, everybody is working, and there is a normal standard working for every person. But if after a normal, if you have work overworked, that's a different thing. But if you have a normal routine work and even then you feel tired from your routine daily work, you feel tired, it indicates the bones are weak. And ultimately it indicates that the cells made by these bones, this factory inside the, which is the groove inside the bone marrow, they are also weak. What weak? When you feel you are going upstairs, you feel breathlessness. Why? Because your bones were weak, and whatever they made, especially the RBCs, red blood corpuscles, red blood cells, and they are not of the standard size, and they are just like bogies of the train, and they are lodged by oxygen. They carry the oxygens. And if the cells are small, they cannot carry more oxygen, which is required. Then you feel breathlessness. It means either cells are in smaller quantity or cells are deformed. They are not of the standardized size and they cannot carry the normal oxygen. When they circulate into the blood, they are not having sufficient supply of the oxygen. And when you go upstairs, when you work, you feel breathlessness. Sa chad gaya. Oh, I'm feeling breathlessness. Means, according to that work, you are having RBCs, red blood corpuscles, which are not of sufficient quantity and quality so that they can carry normal oxygen, which is required by the system when it is exercising. When you exercise, definitely there is a breathlessness. That's a normal thing because we are doing an overwork than the normal structure of the body. At that time, you need more oxygen. And if you feel do not breathlessness, no breathlessness at all, even when you are exercising, you are running everything, no, do not feel that, it means your RBCs are of good quality. They are having sufficient oxygen. They are supplying sufficient oxygen to the cells. And also it indicates your bones are stronger, your factory is stronger. And the stronger factory, good maintained factory by the calcium, potassium, minerals, whatever, it is manufacturing good quality of the RBCs or good quality of the other cells. Suppose if you do not fall sick, you are many, there are still persons, they say that, oh, I never go to the doctor, I never even took even aspirin tablets throughout my life. It indicates who makes us stronger. First thing I told you about the oxygen. The second thing, lymphocyte cells, lymphocytes. Many times I have repeated that in the composition of our blood, what's circulating inside the blood, there are different kind of cells which are manufactured in the bone marrow, in the long bones, that is a neutrophil. These neutrophil cells should be 60 to 70%. And then lymphocyte, 20 to 30%. Then eosinophil, 7 to 10%. Monocyte, 25%. And ultimately, the basophil 0 to 1%, because basophils are not normal cells. And also the large monocyte, they are also not the normal cells. They produce cancer type of things. Whenever a person is having cancer, and if you check his blood, it will show large monocytes or the basophil cells. In this way, all these cells are made in the factory. Which is the factory? Long bones. Long bone factory make these cells, and if we are weak, suffering, oh, today I'm having headache, or today I'm having fever, or today I'm having tonsillitis, or today I'm having this and that, means every day we are having something, means indicates that our lymphocyte cells are weak. And if the lymphocyte cells are weak, they are not performing their normal function, protection. What's their function? To protect against the diseases, to protect against everything which may cause sickness of the body. It means they were not normal. And if they are not normal, what was wrong? Bone was wrong. It was not making the normal quantity of cells. But one thing, if any person is having a long standing disease, just like I just described, continuously tonsillitis, continuously cancer, continuously many other intestinal problems, ultimately what happens? We need more stronger lymphocyte cells, and cells are not performing their normal duty. Just like another example I can give you. If in a large community the police force is less, they cannot control the crimes. They cannot. We need a limited type of number of police officers over there, so that the people can go run nicely, and there should be no crime area. In this way, if the lymphocytes are not in a normal number, if lymphocytes are performing their duty according to the law, means policemen are performing according to the duty, according to the law, whatever they are, means they are maintaining the harmony. They are maintaining the harmony of the society. It means that area will be considered peace area. But if the lymphocytes are weak, then ultimately, ultimately, in whatever may be the disease, whatever may be the name of the disease, ultimately, lymphocyte cells are not performing their normal duty, and that is why there are different kind of indications by our body. The lymph glands are swelling. Tonsils are also lymph glands. Appendicitis is also lymph gland. And there are many more lymph glands involving each organ. And mostly when any organ becomes sick, more than normal, abnormal, ultimately the nearest lymph nodes are swelled up. Not in normal cases, not in under control positions. If the area is under control of the police, even then there are crimes, no problem. But they are able to control that one. Normally, if any infection inside the body and person, it indicates that there is no lymph gland swelling. It indicates that whatever the condition of the body is, it is maintaining harmony. There is no lymph glands. But when the situation is out of control in any area, what happens? We call off more police. We call even military or any other central polices, just to cover that area to make it peaceful. In this way, when these type of military type of things will be increased in number than required, then it is not a peaceful area. In that way, when any organ is sick to the extent that they needs more lymphocytes, and more lymphocytes will cover your area, will cover your immunities, and ultimately they are showing swelling of the lymph nodes. So this is what we see. The lymph nodes are swelled up anywhere in case of the chronic diseases, especially in the chronic diseases. But if it's under control, yeah, normal police stations and normal policemen, they can control it. And then we do not see any development of the lymphocytes. So means lymphocyte glands are our police persons who maintain this peace in the area, that everything is okay. You are going into the cold, you are going to the environment, there are infectious diseases, but you do not suffer from that one. And you go to any tubercular department, check the patient, whatever, but you do not suffer from the tuberculosis. It means your lymphocyte glands are still stronger to maintain the harmony inside your body. You are not suffering from that disease. But when ultimately your lymphocytes are not sufficient in quantity and they are not able to perform the harmony inside the body, oh, yes, you are having tuberculosis. Ultimately, your body will show that kind of signs. And it's not only for one disease. I have just given the example of tuberculosis. No, for all the diseases, to maintain the harmony in any area is the duty of the police, and to maintain the healthy status of the body, it is the duty of the lymphocyte glands to combat infection. To combat infection, to make the harmony, that is the duty of the lymphocytes. And in this way, the different cells of the body, because our chapter is a different chapter and we are going to the other stages, I was describing the this characteristics of the bone. So first characteristic is to make structure. The second characteristic is to make hold of all the muscles in their position. Suppose if the structure is not there, where the muscle will stand? In this way, they are holding the muscles in their position to give shape to this body. And the metabolic, we were already discussing it. Metabolically, it's a factory and producing different type of blood cells, and also itself, the strongest factory is maintained by calcium, potassium, minerals, and everything. And when all this stuff, required stuff, is inside the formation of the bone, then you do not feel tiredness. You do not feel tired, even if you overwork sometimes. But even then, you feel okay. It's okay now. Physiologically, many of the structures are maintained by the cells of this long bones, and all the physiological functions are carried out by different organs when they are supplied a normal type of cells to that area. If normal type of cells are not supplied to any area, the function of that area will be destroyed. So, structurally and metabolically, the primary functions, all these are the functions of bones, plus the movements it makes possible. Muscle in himself cannot move. Bones make the structure, and then structure is able to move. Though muscles are helping to move the bones, but it is the bone that they can move the structures. Other things. Bones also work for the protection from outside. Suppose if anybody hits in the abdomen, directly forceful hit may cause any damage to the inside organs. Just like female genital, male genital organs are outside the body. If anybody hits the genital organ, it's very painful. Even sometimes there may be death in that conditions. But suppose if anybody hit in the back, there are bones especially in the dorsal region, scapula. In the lower portion, there is the hip bones. So the other function of the bone is the protection of internal organs. Whosoever is in bones surveillance, bones are responsible for the pelvic areas, bones, ribs, and also the backside. Bones are responsible to protect the lungs, to protect the heart. Even if anybody hits your chest, they are protected. But in the abdomen, sometimes most people they suffer from the damages if it is caused from outside. So this is the protection. So I told you about the blood farming function of these ones, and also they store the minerals of the body. They are also the storage, because if you eat excess of calcium, excess of potassiums, ultimately where they are stored, there are many more other diseases with the excess of all these minerals and the vitamins. When this excess of all these composition in the bone, the bones are also deformed with that one. But in a normal way, the bones are the storage of, especially I can just give you one example. Bones are storage of calcium. And previously, in my previous lecture, if you remember that, I told you, if a child is in its toddler age and he is having teething problems, and he is erupting the teeth, which are completed in 2 years, 24 months. And in that periods, if a child becomes weak and cannot run, cannot stand even, it indicates that the bones were weak and the minerals were taken out from the bones, so that nature can repair, or you can construct the new teeth in his mouth, because nature needs to make the new teeth. Functioning should go on. Okay, so wherever there is extra calcium, it can take out from that one, bones become weak. Mother will say, okay, my child was healthy, he was standing with the table, he was starting walking 1 or 2 steps, but now ultimately he has 2 3 teeth in the mouth, and now he is unable to stand. He fall down, he do not try to walk, he sit more, he is not initiating to walk or to move or to crawl. These are the indications that the mother says. It, for a doctor, it indicates that the calcium is taken from the bones and used for making the teeth. The other example I gave you from the intestines. If the calcium is the intestine, our intestines are also the first compositor, at the first store, you can say, to store the calciums and many other minerals, just like magnesium and all that. They store it. And ultimately, if nature thinks that the bones are already weak, this child is already weak, but I need more calcium or magnesium or potassium, from where I can take it? He can take it from the intestines. And if the nature takes more calcium, potassium, magnesium from the intestines, that child will be having diarrhea. Mostly you might have heard from the mothers, my child is having diarrhea. And doctor say, oh, is he in teething? Is he erupting teeth? Oh, yes, he has 2 3 teeth. And now he was delayed in teeth, but he is having diarrhea. Why? Because nature is taking calcium, potassium for the formation of teeth from the intestines. And in this way, the function of the long bone is also to store the minerals of the body, storehouse, wherever there is a requirement. Just like bone is broken. When a bone is broken, you need more calcium, potassium to form the new joint, bone joints will be taken from somewhere. Mostly the long bones. Mostly the long bones will become weak, and then ultimately that joint will be formed. Then again the bone can store its normal contents. Other function, endocrine functions. Bones are also, it's a very strange thing that the bones are bones, it are having calcium, potassium, minerals and all other things. How it can store the endocrines? its function is also to regulate the insulin. And also there are many different layers of these are the bones which are having a deep rooted function inside the body. I have just told you the superficial things, but there are many other things which are performed or which depends upon healthy bone. If the bone is healthy, you can see that the diabetic peoples, they are unable to walk more, they are unable to run, they feel weak in their day-to-day working. Why? The function is of insulin, and it is with the pancreas. What's wrong with the bones? Because these are also helping to the other organs to maintain their normal secretion. Different secretions are maintained by the different structure of the bone. That's why this thing happens. So I think today my time is over, and tomorrow, next day, when it will be English lecture, I will tell you about the what are the we are talking about the bones, and then we will talk about the skin, because we are talking about the structures. So after that, we will discuss about the skin, what skin is, what is the function of the skin, what is the structure of the skin, and all these things differently we will discuss on next day. This is Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, your host. My phone number is 408 687 1899. Email address homeomedicine, HOMEOMEDICINE @yahoo. Anytime when you are tired of any disease, any treatment, any age, please call me for your second opinion of the disease, or I can guide you whether your treatment is going on the right line or not. Right line means nature. How the nature was going. When there was no medical science, the nature was curing the disease. People were falling sick and getting healthy. How they were. There was a process of the nature, and we have studied that one. And then I can guide you about that one in your case. What's your disease? If it's not recovering with the treatment, whether the treatment is in the right directions or the treatment is in the wrong directions. What the nature demands, what the body demands, if you are going against to that one, that will be for a limited period. That relief of pain will be limited area. It will be only permanent if you recover all the causes of the pain, all the causes of the disease, and then I can tell you about that one. So God bless you all. Time is over. This is Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, your homeopathy consultant. Rabrakha will see you tomorrow with the next lecture of health education series. And normally, I think the lecture will be tomorrow in Punjabi, and I will describe about the bones and the skin as well. Thank you.